Well, I'm going to give you a little update on the fuel tank. I've got it cleaned up, as you can see, the outside and the inside. And get a light on it this time, so hopefully it'll shine up a little bit better. But you can see I got most of the crud out. There is some stuff on the bottom there that's kind of like old gas. That's what it is. But you can see a spot right there where there's a hole through the tank and a big glob of solder sticking up. That's how they fixed them back in the day. Well, they still do, I guess. But here's a spot that has been soldered. And then this spot down here. Of course, the end had solder on it too, and the fitting. Everything is put in place with solder. So, kind of helps you see I cleaned the neck and everything up. And I haven't done much to the edge. I have taken and cleaned it up with a wire wheel. But let me show you the bottom of it here. The bottom is in excellent shape. This is the top. You can see the pitting on it. And but amazingly, the bottom looks like new. And you can see that right there, that how shiny that is. And again, it had some protective coat on it, probably the original paint. It even has a drain there for it. But there are some pitting. I mean, this area down in here's got some pretty severe pitting. There's a pretty good sized dent, almost a hole through, probably is. But what we're going to do, here's that one with the hole in it. Where am I here? Here we go. Anyway, we're going to take and what I'm concerned with is, let me flip this thing over, is the pickup tube. The pickup tube is laying on the bottom of the tank, and what I want to do is to run this sealer, put this sealer stuff in it. But you can see right there where that tank, or where that tube is. You zoom in a little bit. There's just a hole, just a pipe. But I don't really want to take that apart up there because that's all soldered in place and it's not leaking. Now there was a little bracket, U-bracket that went over the top of that. I pried up on it just a smidgen and it just come right off. So what I'm going to try to do is to stick a piece of rubber hose over the end of it with a bolt in the end of it. And then what I want to do is clean this three-step method for tank coating is to coat the inside of it. You have to clean it real well with a couple. One's a degreaser and then another one is an etching deal that preps the metal for the sealer itself. So that's kind of the plan, and I'm going to do all that before I put the baffle in, and before I put the end in. I'm going to try to, whoops, get the light in front of the camera, you can't see nothing. Try to do that, and then I'm going to put the, you can see where the baffle, I need another hand here, where the baffle goes in. There's some solder spots right here. There's one over here. But that's where the baffle sits. And so what I like to do is, after I get all that coated on the inside of it, let it set up and then stick the baffle in. I will pull that rubber hose off of that pickup tube and tack the baffle in place. And then this is the end. This is the end and the baffle that I have taken and cleaned up real well. I did a little brazing work right there. So, and the baffle's all cleaned up, but they're ready to go. straightened up the edges on it that were bent up, you can see. And so what we're going to do is, after I get the baffle in there, then I'm going to put the end on. And I'm going to solder that end in place and try real hard to get it sealed as much as I can. I have to straighten up the edges a little bit more. But we'll do that, and your baffle will come to about right here, somewhere, about right there. So you'll have that much that will not be prepped. But that stuff that I put in there, I don't know how far back it'll run, but I'm going to try to do it with the end open. Put the stuff in there and let it coat and run down, and I just don't want to get it to come too far this way so that it interferes with that baffle, putting it in and tacking it in place. But I do want a good coat in there, because the only other way is to put it in the filler, which I plan to run that sealer up into the filler anyway. But I mean, that's how they seal these tanks. But the key is like I got the end off. What better way to seal the end of this thing than do it that way? And then after I get the baffle put in, the end put on, then I'll dump some stuff down in here, and we'll just let it slosh around the end of this tank, and then we'll stand the whole thing up on end and let it try to run down in these seams and seal it. That's the plan. But before, my biggest concern was how was I going to seal off that pickup tube without it plugging with this sealer. So that was my biggest concern. But anyway, that's where we're at. And so I'll bring you along as we get into it a little bit further. Thanks for watching.